Hello everyone, it's Dr. Durst with RevitalzyeMD, and today we're going to go ahead and talk about Threads. Threads is the most popular service of 2021. By and away, we are doing more threads than almost anything else aesthetically. We're doing it on a daily basis. And so you want to know what threads are so you can get in on this hot service in 2021. So basically, threads, there's multiple different types, but PDO threads are the ones that we use most frequently. So we're going to end up talking mostly about PDO threads. But in the meantime, we'll talk about the different thread types. Here's a little figure with the different ones. So PDOs are the most frequently used threads. And again, we started using threads, in the 1990s. And basically it was found that if people had surgery, that the threads or where their surgical scars were or where they were sewed up looked better skin-wise. And so that's what stimulated collagen elastin. And so they started studies and looking at it, and they found that the threads actually increase and improve collagen elastin in the skin. So that's when we started using them in the 1990s. And again, at first, maybe people were a little hesitant to believe they worked. There are lots of great studies now showing that. And again, we're using them on a daily basis because they do work with amazing results. The different types, PDO, most commonly used. And again, they're going to dissolve somewhere in between 3 and 6 months, usually by 6 months if it's a lifting thread, and it lasts for about 12 months. And PLLA is another type of thread, and it's very similar. In between 6 to 8 months, maybe it's dissolving and lasting right around 12 months. They say maybe it's an 18, but they're typically still stimulating collagen elastin, between that 6 and 12 after they've dissolved at about 6. But the duration could be up to 2 years, but PLLA and PDO are pretty much similar with the same strength. And again, PLLA cost a little bit more and aren't as frequently used. PCL is another one that can be used, but very expensive and new to the US, and so not used that frequently. So those are the different types. PDO is really what we're going to talk about. Dissolves, for simplicity, I would say it dissolves at 6 months. If you're using smooth versus lifting threads, they're different thickness. So that's where the 3 to 6 months varies depending on what type of thread, PDO thread you're using. Typically, it's still stimulating collagen and elastin for up to 12 months. And again, we're usually repeating at about 12 months. It's a surgical thread. That's how we found out how great they were for stimulating collagen and elastin. And PDO are the most frequently one. Again, it kind of goes through just those other types, just so you kind of know if you're watching a video, or if you hear someone talk, then now you're informed. There's different materials of threads, but PDO are the most common ones, and they are the ones that we use in the office. So when you look then at PDO threads, again, there's different types of threads. So not only are there different types of material, but there's different types of PDO threads, and that's what we're going to go through. Different companies too. Nova Threads, for instance, is one company that we frequently use. VSoft is another. There's MetaThread. So there's multiple different companies. The bottom line is you want to go to somebody that you trust, somebody that does this on a regular basis, somebody that you trust has researched, because there's a lot of threads out there that aren't worth using. So when you see all those Instagram videos and you see all the YouTube videos with lots of threads, like all over the place, usually that means the thread type is probably, or the companies used are probably not the best companies, because you wouldn't need that many. And so definitely you want to go to somebody you trust has done the research for you, and that actually performs these services on a regular basis. So the different ones that we have are, you can have a smooth. So if you hear Sugar on Netflix, that's a smooth thread. If you hear a monofilament, that's a smooth thread. So smooth threads are just one single, very thin thread that is going to stimulate collagen and elastin, not give you much in the way of effects immediately. And then there's a twist thread, which can also be called a screw thread. Likewise, that's twisted, a little bit thicker, a little more complex. So it's going to give you a little more in the way of results immediately popping an area out. It does not lift, but say the nasolabial folds is something that we'll use the twist threads for, or the vermilion lip border, we can do twist threads. And you can basically, and you can use them also in soft tissue if we're gonna try to get rid of, thin, skin with lines. And so we can put smooth or twist, and we get a little more in the way of stimulation of collagen elastin with the twist, but we also get a little effect immediately. And then of course, there are lifting threads. And so those lifting can be called lifting. It can be a molded, it can be called barb, it can be called a cog. It just depends on the company that you're using. And so frequently ours are a barb or a molded thread when we're talking about lifting threads. Where can you put them? You can put them anywhere. And so what we're going to end up doing, and I would follow along and definitely share this video, because this video is just talking about different companies, different materials and different thread types, so that you can have a conversation with the office or provider that you may choose to go to for these services. And definitely, if you're near Knoxville or want to travel to this beautiful area, we do them in the office, and so you can come to us. But where can you put them? You can put them anywhere, almost anywhere. If you look at this is just a diagram of, or an image of, different areas. So you can put them, frequently we're doing, a facelift where we're putting them in the face. What's our biggest concerns? Nasolabial folds, jowling, marionette lines. So we can lift those areas. Again, it's not a surgical lift, but you're going to get an immediate result with a lifting thread. And then it's going to get better with 3, 6, 9 months because of stimulation of collagen elastin. There's lots of studies that show that as well. And then basically you can put them in the lip border. You can put twist threads there. You can put twist threads in the nasolabial fold. You can put them in the neck. We'll put some smooths or twist that are going to help build collagen elastin if you have that crepey neck skin. And then sometimes we can do some laser tightening with that, so they work very well together. The décolleté, you can do it in the hands, you can do it above the lips and the smoker's lines, and we'll kind of talk about all that, but you can actually do above the knees, because you'll get some skin, as we age and we hit perimenopause and menopause, the skin anterior thigh area really tend to bother us. And so you can put them there. You can do some lifting, plus you can do some smoother twists that are going to build out collagen elastin and make that skin tighter. So even if we're doing laser to tighten that area, or a tight sculpting, for instance, that will tighten and build collagen elastin in the skin above the knee, we can also place threads. So we can use those. It's multiple modalities that get us the results we want sometimes. But there's so many different places, even the temple, because sometimes we will place some filler in the temple. But again, there's areas on the face that could potentially have some complications if you're not in skilled hands with the filler, and some complications, such as blindness that you never want to have. And that's occlusion of an artery, which you're not going to get that with threads. You may hit an artery, get some bruising. Of course, again, skilled providers, correct depth of placement is important, because if not, then you can get into those larger arteries, veins, nerves, all of those. So, and that gets me to the next image. It kind of shows you where we're putting it. So intradermal placement, and then we go ahead with this cannula, put it into the intradermal space, and then basically you pull the cannula back out, and that's when you end up leaving the thread in place. So for me to show you this just a little bit better, basically if I'm injecting here, and if this is a lifting thread, for instance, we're going to numb the skin. We have a little entry point, and then what we put in is actually the cannula. You can see this is not a needle. And then basically we put that cannula into the intradermal layer, and then basically we're going to pull the cannula out, and the thread stays there. And so then you end up building collagen elastin in this whole dermis, epidermis. And then that's when you get skin thickening. And then again, if they're barbed, so there's little barbs here, I'm gonna actually put it, it usually comes up like this, and that's gonna grab onto the tissue. And as we're pulling this out, it's grabbing onto the tissue and it's lifting the tissue. And so that's where you get a lift immediately with lifting threads, but you also get collagen elastin. So the thread is going to build collagen elastin. The barbs on the thread or the molds on the thread are going to lift. So you get an immediate effect, but then you also get stimulation of collagen elastin over time. So threads are amazing. They're considered solid filler. So basically, you're putting something in that's going to stimulate collagen elastin and build that skin health and vitality out, but it's not a liquid that you're injecting, such as filler. You know, again, we have volume loss, fillers necessary in certain areas, and again, just being assessed by somebody that you trust and know is skilled can give you all the tools you need to get the results you want. And placement is key. We want to be in this dermis for sure, right here. In this dermis, if we get into the subcutaneous tissue, we don't get as much a lift. And then again, there's vessels and nerves down here that you don't want to end up hitting, because that's when you get complications. So just going to a provider you trust and somebody skilled, and just know that they're doing that research for you. They're using threads and companies that are FDA approved, and you'll get amazing results with them. Basically, we will do more videos on threads. So we're going to do videos on facelift threads with some videos of the actual procedures, which you'll love to see. And then we're going to do some with a brow lift. We're going to do some where we're doing a neck lift. So that turkey neck, where we have a little excess skin here, we can do lifting threads, and we can do smooth threads under here with amazing results. We have videos of doing threads in the neck to improve that skin texture and smooth out those necklines. And then again, even nose threads. So amazing, now you can do threads in the nose that actually lift and then build out the nose. You don't have to use filler necessary, because sometimes you want to thin the look, make that nose look beautiful, the nose you've always wanted, and you can use a thread to do that. So follow along, because we're going to have lots of videos on threads. It is the hottest treatment of 2021. And so follow along for all these videos. You'll want to see the actual procedures too as you're hearing about it. And again, share this videos with others so that they can actually see and hear about threads, and then subscribe, hit the bell so you are notified when we have a new video out. And again, leave us comments, anything you want to hear about, anything that you've had, if you've had experience with threads that you may or may not have loved, we want to hear about it. And then we can also do videos if you want to hear more about something in particular. So again, we're here to revitalize your look, your health, and your sex life. Thank you so much, and have a great day.